Hello, you all. My name is Truly Intuitive, and today I'm coming back to you guys with another video, okay? Today I'm venting, okay? So, this rising, you guys, I woke up and my daughter, she had been feeling sick yesterday, so she did not go to school, okay? And today, I was going to keep her out of school again just to make sure she's doing better before I send her back to school, okay? So, I woke up this morning. She's like, Mama, I have a headache. Mama, my head is hurting. Mama, my stomach is hurting. I'm like, okay, baby. Your head is hurting. Drink you some water. And in a few, I'm gonna make you some breakfast. So she rolls back over, Mom, my tummy is hurting. My tummy is hurting. I'm hungry. So I'm like, okay, baby. I know she likes a grilled cheese sandwich. I know she likes some, whipped up scrambled eggs. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make her some grilled cheese and I'm gonna make her some eggs so she can be full and she can be straight. I make her this sandwich and these eggs. I make her this sandwich and these eggs, y'all. And she's in the bed. When I come back into the room, she's in the bed and she's asleep. So I'm like, baby, get up. Here's your food. Go ahead and eat your food. I leave out of the room because, as a parent, as soon as you get up and you start to do one thing, you started to get up and you start cleaning, you start getting into other stuff, you start trying to get stuff together, fix up your environment. And this is what I'm doing. I'm going ahead, I'm cleaning up the house, getting things together, getting things situated real quick. And so I leave out the room and allow her to eat. I come back maybe 15, 20 minutes later, and she is rolling over and she hasn't touched her food, hasn't touched it at all. I'm like, your food gonna be cold and it's gonna be nasty, so you need to hurry up and eat. So I leave out the room, come back again, and the plate is on the ground, and Lucky's eating the food, and Lucky is my dog. Now y'all don't know, but I'm livid right now. I'm pissed at the moment because I'm like, okay, not only did I get out of bed when I didn't want to get out of bed, I wanted to sleep in. I wanted to continue laying down. I wanted to continue sleeping. But I got up. I made you breakfast. I am cleaning. I'm getting everything together. And your behind decides that you're going to take the food that I've just given you, that you did not touch at all, that you claim that you are so hungry and ready to eat, and you're going to give it to the dog. Okay. So I'm pissed, y'all. I'm going off. I'm like, what in the world? Like, why would you even tell me to get up and make you anything to eat if you were going to give all the food to the dog? So I walked out. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get mad. I'm gonna get madder. So I just walked away, and I walked outside, and I kept hearing God say, everybody's not going to appreciate what you do. Everybody's not going to appreciate what you do. And I felt like it was almost me saying this in my head. And I was like, bruh, this is crazy. Like, this is weird. And I didn't, you guys, I'm not just this overwhelming, like, always getting angry about everything. Maybe I do. But no, I'm not just trying to get angry over anything. My whole thing was that it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I could literally still be laying down and sleep. But I literally was like, okay, I'm gonna make you something to eat because I know you feeling bad. I know you doing all this stuff just for you to take it and throw it away. Not throw it away, you give it to the dog. And you know that you're gonna be hungry in an hour. You know you're gonna be hungry later. So, irregardless, God kept putting in my mind, everybody's not going to appreciate what you do. Everybody's not going to appreciate what you do, especially your kids. And that came to my mind. And I started thinking about us as individuals. The way we ask God for things. We ask God so much. God, I'm ready for my husband. God, I'm ready for this job. God, I'm ready. And again, we just come out of these sick periods, right? We just come out of these periods in our lives where we have faced these overwhelming times, where things have been super hard. Ooh. I'll keep walking this way since the light is better. But things have been super hard. Things have been overwhelming. Things have just literally been crushing us in life. And we think we're at this point of our lives where things, we want something better. God, please give me something better. God, please help me. God, please heal me, But we don't realize that what we're asking. Sorry, y'all, real quick before this truck passes. But we don't realize that what we're asking for, we're not ready for. We're still sleeping. We're still laying in bed. We still want for things to be easy. Okay, we want somebody to give it to us, for it to be just exactly how we need it to be, and for us to not need anything else. But we realize that God, it's easy for God to give us what we want. It's easy for God to just be like, oh, you want this? Okay, here. You want this? Okay, here. But that does not mean that we're ready for it. How many times has God wrapped up an amazing person for you, an amazing opportunity, an amazing gift, an amazing idea, and how many times has God given you something amazing, placed it in front of you, and you gave it to somebody else, and you released it, and you didn't know what to do with it? How many times has God given you something specific, and you just pawned it off because you didn't know what to do with it, because you weren't ready for it, even though you asked for it, even though you said that you wanted it? How many times have we been through a situation where God has given us all that we said we've asked for, but we have just neglected it? And I realized again what God had told me: everybody will not appreciate what you do, especially your children. And it let me know that God, like, sometimes we're not appreciative. As much as God does and wants to do, we're not appreciative of every little thing that's coming into our lives, every little thing that's happening, every little thing that is coming in to make us balance, to make us more, and to heal us and to deliver us. We're asking for these things, but we really do not want them. We're really not ready for them. And we really have to stop rushing God and hurrying God up and saying, God, please do this, and God, hurry up, when we're not ready to receive, when we're not ready to take any action, we're not ready to do anything. God is not, literally, my daughter only had to turn around and eat, turn around and consume. The only thing she had to do is like literally lean over and start consuming what I gave her. The only thing God needs you to do is start consuming what he gave you. You don't even want to do that. You don't want to consume the ideas. You don't want to consume the intuition. You don't want to consume the love. You don't want to consume what God has given you. So stop asking. And just realize that you are coming out of a hard time. You are coming out of a tough phase. You are coming out of something that is hard. So give yourself time to get that inspiration, that motivation back. When the moments where you feel like, oh, I can get up again. I can start doing this stuff again. I can start pushing again. Again, as a parent, I didn't want to get up, but I knew that I had to, because I'm a parent. I didn't want to get up, but I have to. I have to do whatever my daughter needs me to do. Not whatever, but listen, I have to make sure that all of my daughter's needs are met. So, because God feels the same way, God is going to make sure that all of your needs are met. God already knows your needs. I already know my daughter needs to eat. I know what my daughter needs. But you have to make sure that you are ready for what you need. Make sure that you're ready for what you need. Make sure that you have the motivation. You are already up. Your eyes already got the cats out your eyes. You are already ready and hyped to start going and getting what you want. Because when you come out this sick period, when you come out this period where I'm just still so tired, I'm just still so sick, and oh my gosh, I just need, oh my gosh, so much, you are expecting somebody to put it in your hand, to feed you, to coddle you, to do all these things. And what God's going to do is God's just going to put the plate next to you. God is going to put the plate next to you and see if you reach out to get it. And if you don't, you are going to let that food spoil. Because again, food can sit next to you, but my thing is, it's not going to be as good as it was when it first got there. It's not going to be as good as it was when it first got there. And that's how I just saw 9/11. If you've been seeing the angel numbers, 9/11, this is for you. Because once God gives something to you, don't let it get old. God isn't rushing you and give you no time limits, but the gifts that you have and the gifts that he's giving you have limits. And if you don't utilize it within a lot of time, you're going to end up with some cold, hard, nasty food. And now when I say food, I mean ideas, I mean relationships, I mean people, I mean everything. Everything is just, again, if you wait until the last minute to get into it, it's going to be cold. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be usable to you anymore. You ever had the best person in your life, the person that you knew you meant to be with, you knew you meant to just to have this person in your life forever, But you wait so long to commit and to get it right for this person that this person basically hates you now. Your baby, you can't get it right for nothing. Or that you had an idea in your mind for so long, to the point where you have had so many revelations and so much stuff that's coming over you to get the book started. But once you finally get it started, now nothing can come to your mind. Now nothing can't come into your energy. You yourself have to realize and acknowledge that you cannot wait. You cannot wait. You don't have time to wait. How I wanted to sit down and lay in bed and just, do what I wanted to do, I didn't have time because I have a kid. And whether you realize it or not, you have a kid. You have something growing inside of you. You have something being birthed inside of you. You have something that God is trying to show the world. You have something inside of you that God wants the whole world to see. But the fact that you are being lazy. I saw that post. Oh my gosh, I saw this post today before I came on here. Somebody posted something on Facebook. They said, oh my gosh, you're just so talented, but you're inconsistent, and that's your problem. And I think that that's where a lot of our problem is. The train is confirmation. You are talented. You have a gift. Something is in you. God is trying to use you. God is trying to move through you. But your inconsistencies are what's going to fuck you up. The fact that you will not get up and show up for yourself. The fact that you will allow these ideas to go cold in your mind. The fact that you will allow these relationships to dwindle and to be overwhelming and to do all these things, because you don't get up and take your gifts every day. Get up and take what God has given you every day. That is why you're still overwhelmed. And I saw a blue jay. If you've been seeing blue jays, I always connect blue jays to the emotional trauma, the tears that you haven't cried, the things that you haven't said, all the energy that you haven't been letting go, because you are scared and overwhelmed about how you will be taken and how people will feel about you and all these things. You have to release that and let these things go. You got to release this overwhelm of everybody not understanding you, everybody not or thinking differently of you, because now you have this new idea. Now you want to move in this new way. Now you want to do this new thing. Or now that you just want to release what you've been feeling on your mind. This is this neurodivergent thing that I've been talking about, you guys. We don't realize how different our mind works, how God puts ideas in our mind, how God puts information in our minds, how God moves in our dreams, how God moves in our lives. We don't understand that the signs and stuff we're getting is so different from how other people are seeing and thinking and viewing life. And if you don't understand that you have a neurodivergent mind, if you don't understand that your mind and your nerves and your energy moves differently to others, you're going to think that you are abnormal. You're going to think that everybody else is normal and you're not. And the reality of it is nobody is normal. Everybody has these thoughts and energies and these ideas and all these things, but we ignore them, we push them down, and we try to live a normal life. We try to work a 9 to 5, try to become millionaires from working a 9 to 5, and keep passing down generational trauma and generational hurt and generational poverty to other generations. That's all we keep doing. Working 9 to 5s, thinking that's gonna make us a millionaire, and passing down all these habits and these structures and these things that we don't even want to have. So what you have to realize is that, yes, again, everybody will not appreciate what you do. Everybody want to, and I think that's the reason that most of us don't go for these ideas that we have, for these relationships, for these things that we really want, that God has placed in our lives. We don't go for these things because we feel like, oh, I'm not deserving of this thing. This thing will move away from me. I won't have it for very long. I can't maintain it the way I want to. I don't have enough for this thing. We feel like we literally aren't worthy of these things that we're asking for, or these things that we want. And we have to get ourselves out of this place of feeling unworthy of what we want. All right? And even if it's not you feeling unworthy, if it's not you feeling unworthy, not you feeling insecure, not you feeling fearful that this thing's gonna leave you, then what you really feel is laziness. And you feel like, oh, this thing is gonna be here, this thing is gonna stay. But you're wrong. This thing has a time limit. This thing is not gonna stay here forever waiting on you. Because if you aren't the person to get the idea going, start the relationship, do the thing, somebody else will. If you're not going to be the person to break generational trauma, God is going to take the gift away from you and give it to somebody else who will. That's one thing you got to know about God. God is not going to sit here and waste time with you. Not if you're showing that you're gonna continue to waste time. So as gifted as we are, we have to trust ourselves and believe in ourselves, you guys. As gifted as we are, we can't just sit here and do nothing. Because what is a gift if you haven't done anything with it? Are you really gifted? Have you really done anything? Do you really have anything if you didn't do anything with it? You might as well have had nothing if you sat there and just kept it in your hands and not done anything with it. So you have to start utilizing the tools that God has given you. That's why you're crying right now. That's why you're overwhelmed. That's why you are anxious. That's why you are depressed, because you're not using what God has given you every day. The ideas that God has given you, the grace and the energy and the love, and God has given you so much, and you're like, oh, I guess this is normal. I guess I'm gonna just keep this in my mind. I'm gonna just keep this in my head. I'm gonna just whatever. I just saw a cardinal, you guys. And y'all know I associate cardinals with that love and that energy that you still need to give off, that positivity and that pure love that's trying to come and fill your heart. And if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I've been posting about cardinals for the past week or so. Know that cardinals mean that there's a lot of unconditional love that is around you. There are a lot of new relationships, new people, new circumstances, new cycles that are coming, and you have to tap into the energy of unconditional love and know that you are deserving of unconditional love. The only thing about this cardinal energy is about realizing that because it's red, you have to start to acknowledge your root area, acknowledge the root of your life, and your root is where your foundation is. That's where your trauma is. That's where the structures of your life is. That's how you feel like you need to move and how you feel like you need to act and go and be and whatever. That is all located in your root. And if your root is damaged, if your root is defiled, if your root is evil, if your root is nasty, if what you're doing is rooted in something that is not for the benefit of God, if it's not for the benefit of the entire world, if it's just for the benefit of you, you may be rooted in trauma. And you ask yourself, why am I still going through this? Why can't I just feel good? Why can't I feel right? God didn't place you here to just get $1 million and take care of you. I'm sorry. God didn't place you here to do that. You have family. And if you don't have family, you're gonna create a family. You're gonna create a system. You're gonna create a community that you want to be yours. That means that you have to love them openly. That means you have to give to them openly, and not just give them money and do whatever they say. No, you have to give them energy and positivity and love and grace, and just you have to give them what God would give them. We have to act like God every day. And that's what we do not do. I'm not trying to tell you to mimic God and think that you rule everybody and try to judge everybody and you shouldn't be doing this. Hell no. What I'm telling you is that you have to act like you love somebody. Act like the world means something to you. Act like today means something to you. Act like shoot, today is the last day that you have, and that you got to do whatever it takes to be better. What if today was the last day that you got to live? And my thing is, there's nobody on here who watched this video that can tell me they're going to live tomorrow. There's nobody on this live who can be like, oh, who can for sure say, I'm going to be here tomorrow. You can assume, you can guess. But my thing is, every single 24 hours that you have, you need to make sure that day, everybody in the world knows that God loves them. Everybody in the world knows that you love them. Everybody in the world knows that they are amazing and they're going to be better and they're going to do better. And if you're not doing that, if you're not being that person, that's exactly why you don't feel like you can do better. That's exactly why you don't feel like you can be better. That's exactly why you are going through what you're going through. Because you're keeping your shit in yourself. You're not saying what's hurting you. You're not saying what feels painful. You're not acknowledging the trauma. You're not acknowledging the heart, the pain. And my thing is, because you're not acknowledging that, there is no unconditional love inside of you. Everything that you do is conditional. I got to get something in order to receive something. It's not unconditional. And that's why you can't receive unconditional love. That's why you don't feel like God is unconditional. Because you love everybody and you do everything on a condition. If I ain't getting money, if I ain't getting paid, if I ain't getting this, if I ain't getting that, I ain't doing it. And however you move is how God's going to move in your life. So that's why you got to know everybody's not going to appreciate what you do. And my thing is, I told my daughter, I was like, girl, you don't got to listen. I ain't got to make you no darn breakfast. But my thing is, that's not me acting like God. And my thing is, I came back in the room after that, and I told her, like, listen, baby, I'm gonna do whatever I can for you. You know that I'm gonna give you whatever you need from me. But you gotta help me out. We gotta be in this together. And you gotta communicate with me. Whether you want something or whether you really don't want something, or whether you feel like you are ready and you're really not ready. Saw another blue jay right there. He's sitting on the darn pole right here above the little swing. And he's pretty. He has a red chest. I ain't never seen like he has a beautiful blue, royal blue with a red chest. He may not be a blue jay, a cardinal. A blue jay, but he's still blue. So just know that there's so much stuff that's in us that's hidden, y'all. There's so much stuff that in us that is overwhelming. But on his chest, though, there's so much love in his chest. There's so much unconditional love inside of you. And you don't want to show up because you don't want to be hurt. You don't want to be taken advantage of. You don't want for what you have to go away from you. You don't want these things. I wanted to get him in the video, but I can't see him. Either way, you want for things to go your way. And just because things are not going how you planned it does not mean it's not going how God intended for it to go, you guys. Last thing I'm going to say is that I saw a caterpillar. And I've been talking about caterpillars for a while as well. And if you are pregnant, know someone who's pregnant, or are going through this transformation in your life where you know that you got to be different, that God is moving inside of you different, and there's an idea, there's this energy, there is something inside of you that's like, something's about to change. Something is about to be different. And whether it's a new idea, a new job, a new situation, friendship, whatever it is, if you feel like something is pregnant inside of you, meaning that something that you don't know about, something that you can't really put your finger on, something that is making you want to change and reinvest in yourself and become a new person, and something that's making you look, talk, be different. If something is being birthed inside of you that you know you got to release, that you know you got to show the world, whether it's a book, whether it's a movie, whether it's just the whole new you. If you feel like you're in this pregnant energy and you've been seeing caterpillars, this is for you. You have to realize that you are going through a phase. Caterpillars either can turn into a butterfly or a moth. And regardless of what they turn into, it's about acknowledging that these things that have crawled on the ground for so long, that have gotten used to eating just leaves and just being on the ground, rolling through the dirt, all these things that have been gotten used to their environment and moving all slow and being the smallest around, they're eventually going to go into this phase where they have to be isolated, where they have to get by themselves, and they have to realize, you know what, I'm becoming better and I'm becoming bigger. And the thing about it is, this caterpillar isn't expecting to be a butterfly tomorrow. It's about realizing that what's going on inside of you and what's growing inside of you is changing you into a butterfly by itself. This is something that God is doing. This is something that God is blessing you with right now. And you're changing in the inside. It's nothing that you have to do. That's why I told you earlier. Only thing my daughter had to do was turn around and consume the food. Only thing that you have to do is literally consume what God is giving you. Consume it. I just saw 2, 3, 4, 5. Consume. I saw 13, 13 and 18, 18. Consume what God is giving you. If God is giving you a good person and a good mentor and a good coach, consume that information. Consume as much as you can so that you can learn more about yourself. If God is giving you an amazing job and amazing people around you that can help you and get you on the right track, consume all the information, all the knowledge that they're giving you. If God is giving you the mindset and the intellect and the vision to build something, to create something, consume everything God is giving you. Write it down. Consume what God is giving you. But my thing is, you have to realize that if you aren't consuming it, that's the reason why you feel lost, because you're not consuming what God is giving you and you're not putting it back out. Once you consume something, you got to release it. It's coming out in pee or in boo-boo. And so once you consume whatever God is giving you, God doesn't want you to just keep it in your head and keep it in your mind. God wants you to tell the world about it. What are you finna do with what you just consumed? How are you people going to see this information? What is information going to become? And you have to start getting all of these things in line. And it's not about overthinking them, overdoing. It's about doing what naturally comes to you. with this situation that happened, when it happened, I didn't intend on making a video about it. But my thing is, God has been telling me to make videos. God has been telling me to get out of my comfort zone. And I realized that once God gave me the revelation of what that whole situation meant, I said, I got to come on here and I got to do a video about this. So do what God has been already telling you and guiding you to do. If God has been guiding you to journal, do that. If God has been guiding you to go to therapy, do that. If God has been guiding you to write down these ideas that have been going through your mind, do that. If God has been guiding you to get a new job or to move to a new place or to whatever, do what God is guiding you to do. But consume what God is guiding you to do first. Don't just make these moves and these actions and wonder why you're feeling overwhelmed. Are you consuming what God is giving you? Okay? So, y'all, I truly love you guys. Just make sure that you know, with every symbol and everything that I've said within this video, just know that you are about to become so much newer, brand new, just different. And the thing about it, I keep talking about this neurodivergent energy, but it keeps coming back to me because, again, we don't realize that being in this caterpillar, moving on the ground at all times and just only eating leaves and only just taking what you can get or whatever, that has given us trauma. Being at the lowest of the low has given us a lot of trauma, you guys. You don't realize how it's going to come full circle, though, once you receive your breakthrough. Once you break out of that cocoon, once it's time for you to become a butterfly, you're going to be flying high. You have never flown before. This could be probably for somebody who's never been on a plane or never, traveled out of the country, but you've never flown before. You've never done some of these amazing things that God is putting in you that you're going to do. All these things that are in your mind, all these things that you are like, I could never be that, and I could never. I see a cardinal right now. All these things that you're like, I probably could never do that. God is not going to bless me that way. God is like, I could never do these things that I'm imagining, that I'm dreaming. But God is saying, yes, you can. Yes, you are going to do these things. I'm just trying to work inside of you. If you let me, I'll work inside of you and I'll change you and I'll create something that's secure and that's stable that you'll believe in. And you have to realize that once you reach this point, once you've moved far enough, once you've grown big enough, once you can't move anymore based on what you already consumed as a caterpillar, once you've consumed everything on the ground level, then it's that moment where you are so big that you have to come and make sure that you have gathered all the information together. You have to make sure that you've gathered all that you've learned together, and you're going to put this cocoon around you. You're going to build yourself in this safety, in this shelter. And for a little while, not for too long, you're going to stay in there. You're going to put everything that you've learned together. God is going to put everything that you've learned together. You're going to have a revelation after revelation after revelation after revelation. You're going to become a new person. And after everything is set in stone, after God has given you all the revelations and all the tools and everything that you need, you're going to bust out of this cocoon and you're going to take flight. And it's going to be scary because you've never flown before. Your whole life, you've been on the ground crawling. Your whole life, you've been moving through bullshit. Your whole life, you've been scared that birds are going to get you and that things are going to happen to you. Your whole life, you've been afraid. But then you're gonna have a life where you can fly. Where you're so beautiful that everybody and everything that moves around you, they want to take a picture of you. Everybody always talk about butterflies and how beautiful they are. People want to take pictures of you, pictures with you. People want to tell you how beautiful and how amazing you are. People are going to be just so fascinated with your glory and your love and your beauty and what you've been through. People are going to be fascinated with your life. But you yourself have to make sure that you are getting to that point by consuming what God is giving you. You cannot get to that point if you're not consuming what God has already given you. So today we're going to ask ourselves, God, what do I need to consume? What more do I need to consume, God? And my thing is, if I already have it, if I've already consumed it, God, what do I need to be releasing? What do I need to be giving off to the world, God? What do I need to release? If I've already consumed what you're giving me, if I have, what do I need to release now? What do I need to give off to the world? What do I need to show you that I know? So right now, I want us to breathe. in through your nose, out through your mouth, you guys. But breathe. I know I've said a lot. I know we've gone through a lot today. But just breathe and really ask God simply, God, what is meant for me to be consumed? What position am I meant to play in this part of my life? What exactly am I meant to do in this part of my life? And once I know all this, God, please reveal to me what I am meant to give. All right? Write these questions down, because my thing is, as you write these questions down, dreams, visualizations, people are going to start saying stuff. You're going to hear stuff in songs. You're going to hear stuff in shows. You're going to hear stuff on TV. It's going to start coming over and over. It's going to be we're playing over and over. We're playing over and over. You're going to start hearing stuff. But if you don't write these questions down, if you don't have these questions, and I would say have it deep in your mind, but have it deep in your mind and write it down. Because if you don't write it down, you are not going to be consistent. You're not. If you don't write it down, you're not going to be consistent. Write it down. Write these questions down. And once you write them down, wait for God's reply. Wait for what God says to you, for the things that you visualize, for the things that come up in your mind, for the things that you hear and see, and that you probably hear somebody keep talking about creating a podcast and making a website and doing da. You probably keep hearing somebody saying this over and over again after you've asked this question, after you da. And if this is something that you have been wanting to do but have been avoiding doing, maybe you should stop ignoring yourself. If this video has been amazing, if it has touched you, if you feel a transition from this, I will definitely link my other video for stop trying to plan God and become a planner. Okay, stop trying to plan God. Stop thinking that God is one way and that you know exactly what God wants from you and everything else, and your life is not moving the way you want it to move. Become a planner. All right, and I will teach you what the difference between trying to plan God and what a planner is. Okay. All right, and I will give you like a couple of details between that. So a plan, stop trying to plan God. Stop thinking that God is practical, linear, accessible, achievable, or what's the word? Abbreviative. Okay? God is not achievable or abbreviative. And stop thinking that God is going to be neutral. All right, so stop trying to plan God. God is not just practical, and God doesn't want you to be practical, because God is practical, but I say God is not just practical. God is a person who wants to use you and to utilize you for your skills and your gifts to help you grow and help to maximize his name and to just align this whole world in this positive way. But God does not want you over here in the same way, like, okay, God, well, since you want to use me, tell me what you finna do. Just show me, and I don't really care about what you're saying about these laws and why I need to follow. Just show me what it is. God does not want you to be like that. God wants you to actually work, to do the work. Because God has already shown you. God has already given you what you need. God is not going to be linear. God is not going to always be this achievable goal. Once you receive God at this one phase, listen, that's not it. You know how big and amazing God is? You think you receive him at this level is just it? Hell no. There's a lot more that you need to learn, a lot more that God is, a lot more that you're going to have to do. So just know that it's not just this achievable thing. And also the other A can be abbreviative. God is not going to shorten your sentence. God is not going to shorten what you've done to get yourself to where you are. God's not going to just shorten all this stuff for you. Yes, God can. But if you put yourself in a situation you're not ready to get out, God is not going to make your circumstances shorter for you. God is not going to make the hard times shorter for you. God has to make sure that you have learned your lessons and that you won't go back and do the same things. Meaning that God has to put you through what you have to go through. And you have to be okay with it. You got to be willing to grow and get bigger and get better. And God is not going to be neutral. God's not going to just sit around and let you do whatever you want and just be like, okay, you can do whatever you want. It's going to be all right. No, God is going to show you better than he can tell you. God is not going to sit around being neutral when you want to do whatever you want to do. So you got to become a planner. You got to become a patient listener, accepting natural neurodivergent energy and reciprocating it. And that means that you have to become somebody who's patient and listening to God and accepting that your brain and everybody's brain in the world works differently than the way society has been telling us it does. You have to accept that the fact that your brain, what you want, what you need, and the next person next to you, that their brain moves very differently, that they may think that they have what they want, and they may think they know what they need, but you guys don't. And that's why we haven't received it yet. That's why we're still searching and looking. So when you accept that your brain moves neurodivergently, when your brain moves differently than everybody else's moves, you acknowledge that, I am different. I'm not the same as everybody else. I'm not normal. And that is normal. When you realize that you can stop trying to play normal, stop trying to play what this role that everybody else is playing, and you realize that you are normal because you aren't like everybody else, you realize that you can reciprocate this energy and realize, like, you know what? I don't have to act like I have everything together. I don't have to act like everything is perfect. I don't have to act like things are going the way I want them to go when they're not. And I can start talking about this. I can start talking about the fact that my brain moves differently. I can start talking about the fact that God's moving through me differently. I can start talking about the signs that I'm getting that's different. I can start talking about this different energy. But when you're in this phase where you're like, oh, you're trying to be like everybody else and you trying to be normal, like this blue jay I keep seeing, you are holding on to so much emotional trauma. You're holding on to so many things that are trying to bust out of you and trying to let you know that this is not normal. This is not how I need to feel. This is not what I want to do. This is not who I want to be. This is not me. When you stop allowing yourself to be who everybody else wants you to be and start to be you, you realize how neurodivergent you are. If you've suffered from these things like suicide, and depression, and anxiety, and bulimia, and just depression, and bipolarism, schizophrenia, just these psychosis and these psychotic breaks, anything where you feel like, okay, my mind, autism, ADHD, all these things where you feel like my mind moves differently. Dyslexia, my mind is just different. Like, you think this way, but I think this way. You think this way, but I see it this way. You will move this way, but I wouldn't move that way. I'll move the other way. Our brains are different. All of our brains are different. We're letting the world try to categorize, okay, well, this is normal. This is what normal people would do, and this is what normal people would be, and this is what you're trying to be normal when you are not meant to be normal. You're not meant to be normal. You're meant to be different. You're meant to be you. Y'all, I'll talk on here all day. But since you're meant to be you, you better start becoming yourself. And you can't complain about what you aren't doing, what you aren't receiving, who you aren't becoming, if you aren't ready to get yourself pumped. If you aren't ready to put yourself out there. If you aren't ready to consume what God has given you, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for the people who are consuming what God is giving them. Because even though you're consuming, you still don't know why you're still hurting and why you're still going through this and why you're still da-da-da. It hurts regardless, you guys. But consuming it and keeping moving and keeping the trust and still believing, although you're consuming, it helps you to get bigger and it helps you to get better and it helps you to give off this energy to other people. Yes, the people who are consuming God's energy and God's love still hurt. Yes, these people are still going through troubles. Yes, these people still have issues with their faith. Yes, people still have issues with their lives. Yes, we still have issues. But the faith in us keeps us pushing and it keeps us going. And it keeps us expressing these same things to everybody else. Not keeping it inside of ourselves, not dying and killing ourselves from these diseases that we're holding on to because of our mental health. And because of what's trapped in our root, the trauma that's trapped in our root. We're telling people about these stories. We're telling people that we don't feel always amazing. But there's no excuse not to follow what God is giving you. There's no excuse to just sit there and not consume what God is giving you. Because it hurts even worse to not consume. It hurts even worse to be like, oh my gosh, what is meant for me? Like, what am I meant to do? I'm just sitting here. I'm not doing anything. Rather than consuming it and hurting, but realizing, damn, I know what this means now. It doesn't hurt that bad when you finally realize that, oh, I know what this means. I get it. And you don't get it because you aren't acting on it yet. You're taking it in, but you aren't acting on it. You aren't doing anything about it. So moving forward, we're doing something about it moving forward. We're not just talking. We're not just moving. We're not just acting. We're doing. We're not acting like anybody. We're doing what feels best for us. We're doing what is best for us. So moving forward, if you are doing what feels best for you, if you are doing it, type down below, I'm doing it and I'm not scared, okay? I am doing it and I'm not scared, period. All right? And moving forward, that's what we're gonna be doing it. It's spring. It's the beginning of the new year at this point, and now that the new year has really started, we are about to be growing. We're about to be moving. We're about to be uplifted. Because this time next year, it's going to be something new again. It's going to be something new again. So moving forward, when it's time to reap what we've sown, October through December, when it's time to actually reap what we've sown, you want to have said that I've done it. I ain't just sit down. I ain't just worry about what everybody else says. I've actually done some shit. And if you haven't done anything, please don't expect to have received anything come this time of reaping. Come this time where you've already sown all you can sow, but it's time to reap. Okay? I love you all. I love you all so much. I thank you so much for your time, your energy. Whew. And I hope you have an amazing day. Bye.